Hello, my name is Rosa Schmidt. I'm with the Center for Energy Workforce Development and Troops to Energy Jobs. Welcome to this short webinar regarding the energy industry. We're going to be focusing this morning on the electric industry and the electric side of the business. And so we've got two esteemed colleagues here that will be talking about what they do and what it's like to work for the energy industry. But just a little bit I want to share. The energy industry currently has over 4,200 positions open. And over the past year, even with COVID-19, we've had close to 4,000 jobs available in the industry every single day. So we are essential personnel out there. The jobs are not jobs, they are careers. I grew up in the energy industry and they are careers. So without further ado, I'm going to turn this over to the experts and have them talk a little bit about what they do. So let me introduce Marcos Lamberia from Pike Energy, and he will talk a little bit about, I'm going to have them talk more about themselves. He's a project manager at Pike. And then Milton Bucher from Pacific Core, which is a subsidiary of Berkshire Hathaway, and Milton is the director of field operations. So I'm going to go ahead and get started, and I'm going to start off with you, Marcos, by asking you to kind of introduce yourself a little bit, talk a little bit about your background in the military, talk a little bit about what you do, your current position in the company, and maybe the career growth and progression that you've had in the company. Marcos?
Yeah. Well, I served 14 years active duty, the United States Marine Corps, still serving as a reservist. So I'm up to 16 years or so. So I'm close, so very, very close. And I left active duty in October 2017, and it obviously wasn't the plan. Didn't end up being the plan. I made a big time decision. I was all family oriented. I find myself working for a power generation company. And then I was found by Insight Global, which is a recruiting company for Pike Corporation and Pike Engineering. I was asked to come to work for Pike as a power engineering technologist, and really I didn't know what that was. You know, I got a phone call, had no idea what that was. Obviously, I did a little bit of homework for myself and found out that it was quite a seamless transition from what I did in the Marine Corps. I came up in the Marine Corps as a basic electrician. So that's power generation, power distribution on an expeditionary level. So it's small generation up, you know, anywhere from 5 kW generators up to 300 kW generators, things that can be moved with forklifts basically and put into a field environment. I grew into, as I gained some rank and gained some experience, I ended up going to a journeyman's course, which is more an advanced course in the Marine Corps, and then got up into the E6, E7 ranks and went to utilities chief's course, which is the final career progression for the enlisted side that specifically works on higher level planning, supervision, logistics, anything encompassing of providing utility support for, well, in a field environment, whether that be here in the States or overseas, fighting the good fight. So I got, like I said, I got off active duty in October 2017, and then I was hired on by Pike Engineering as a power engineering technologist. And when I said it was seamless, it very much was. I understood electricity. I understood how it was generated, how to get it from point A to point B. And when I found out what an engineering technologist was, it really dealt with technical manuals, rules and regulations, the National Electrical Safety Code, looking into spec pages for specific types of utility poles and equipment, and found myself, you know, as a designer, designing utility lines for Duke Energy. And really, after being a part of it for a few months, I found out that, okay, I could probably do this for a long haul if they allow me to. And Yeah, I mean that's really it. That's kind of how I got into it. You know, it was on a whim. I left the Marine Corps, and I got found luckily using Indeed.com, Monster.com, LinkedIn, all these different types of you know websites that allow you to do job search. And I was lucky enough to get found. Really, I felt like I got lucky. So.
Now you're a project manager right now. So you're no longer a technologist. So talk a little bit about that.
Well, being the technologist, that was the groundwork. I had to understand the processes, the workflow processes, and designing a work order and getting it to construction, and then mitigating any issues while in the construction. So over the couple years I was with Pike to begin with, it allowed me to learn the workflow process and all the other necessities that go into putting a utility pole in the ground, whether that be environmental or right of way, or dealing with the NCDOT, or brownfields, contaminated areas, things of that nature. And I just dove in and eventually was given an opportunity to become a project manager because I learned the workflow process. And here I am. Gosh, I think Milton, you said it's exciting. It's different every day. And it very much so is. And that's kind of like being in the Marine Corps. It was different every day. You didn't know what to expect. And we like to call it being Semper Gumby, and that's just being always flexible. And as a project manager, you most certainly have to be ready for something coming in hot and fixing something on the fly. So.
Yeah, I'll try not to make fun of you. Being that I'm served in the Army, but I will say, like you mentioned, the lingo in the utility is a little bit different, so you kind of have to figure that out and navigate that. When someone says, "Hey, I'm a designer in the electric utility world," it's not what most people recognize or imagine that you'd be doing as a typical designer. So verbiage is often confusing between different trades and different utility versus other retail worlds. So pretty cool transition from service to the utility sector. Thank you for your service, even if it was in the Marines. So.
Still is, Milton, still is.
Milton, let's hear from you. So tell me a little bit about your background and where you are today.
Yeah, so greetings from the Pacific Northwest. A little bit about me. I have 4 kids and enjoy a very active lifestyle. I'm rarely sitting still. In fact, I'm hoping to be able to do so for the next 30 minutes, but I do not make any promises here. I had the pleasure of serving in the United States Army. I enjoyed my time serving, wouldn't trade it for anything. I served as part of our special forces team sent all over the world, which kept me constantly deployed and very, very busy. Many of my military friends were jealous as they were stuck stateside or deployed, but maintaining equipment, pulling guard duty, or worse activities. I supported military operations in Haiti, Somalia, Honduras, Afghanistan, Iraq, Saudi, and probably the most time in Kosovo, Macedonia, and Bosnia. I served for about 10 years, to give you an idea on duration. It was amazing to see how much we did as a country for those around the world in need. And as all service members know, much of that great work goes unnoticed. I held 2 MOSs in the Army, 96 Bravo and 62 Echo Mike. Yes, a weird one that has two letters instead of the norm. Military intelligence analyst and what some call a heavy engineer with a mine specialty. So it was my job to declare location safe prior to our teams entering those. If mines, explosives, or other hazards were identified, I had to find a way to destroy them or find an alternative route for our teams to complete all their missions successfully. I left the military after a major injury while deployed. Had I not been injured, I would likely have stayed until retirement. After my military service, I went back to Utah, continued my college education, and tried working on the family farm. As you can imagine, not so lucrative. After telling people those 2 facts, I usually get asked, did you leave the military because of a brain injury? So if you were thinking that, I understand. I then worked as a law enforcement officer, similar to the family farm. The pay was low. I thought animals were hard to deal with some days. People suffering from drug addictions and mental illness require an extreme amount of patience. My hat's off to the law enforcement and first responders that deal with those folks and challenges every day. I then knew I wanted a higher paying, more stable career. Found a position with an electric utility. I found the career that I love. I like to stay busy. I enjoy challenges, enjoy strategic planning and innovating. I love helping around the country with storm work and outage restoration work after disasters. In general, I love that a lot of my work is really exciting. Definitely has similarities to the military, but without drill sergeants. Working for a Berkshire Hathaway Energy company, tremendous benefit since they cover so many states. It truly provides a wide variety of growth opportunities and opportunities just to expose yourself to major events and different things every single day. My position is Director of Field Operations. To be in operations management, it typically requires a degree in engineering, business, or similar. But often allows for a mix of education, utility work, and supervisory experience, which again speaks right to military experience. Most operations directors have MBAs or engineering degrees or worked as an electric trade journeyman. I finished my bachelor's and MBA. I'm still trying to figure out how my college classes to be a veterinarian led me to the electric utility world. But some advice from me: keep an open mind as you venture into the future. Military service naturally builds skills, teamwork, problem solving. All of those will provide big opportunities for you. It's always best to demonstrate those values to your employer by working hard every day, no different than you learned in the military.
Yeah, man, Milton, you hit it right on the nose there. The mindset that the military instills into service members is you can't find much better, and that's just my opinion. Working with a lot of service members, working with service members at Pike Engineering, you know who they are. You can pick them up off the side of the road. You know who they are, who they could be, where they were, or you just have an opinion of that. So you hit that right on the nose. It opens up doors being in the military, and I feel like a lot of folks, they don't know their capabilities yet as a civilian. I think that's the biggest thing, is their capabilities, when in reality their capabilities surpass many. It's just they haven't been given that opportunity. So being a student veteran, listening to us talk is worst thing anybody could ever tell you is no. But you just got to go try. The options are endless, and the utility industry is exactly that. You find yourself as a veterinarian. I found myself directly out of the Marine Corps, and here I am in a career that never even thought I would be where I am right now. So it was just a matter of going for it, So that's why I thought I wanted to pop in there, Milton, because I agree with that wholeheartedly.
Yeah, thanks for that, and for not making fun of the Army. Always appreciate that.
Hey, one team, one fight, man. One team, one fight.
Absolutely. And again, my service was great. I worked with all the different forces and teams. And, I think when you get out, there's a lot of similarities in the utilities. We all help each other. We constantly are sending mutual assistance between companies and between states to help each other when storms and major events occur. Really, really exciting and fun work. Definitely never boring.
No, that's funny you say that, because the storm work was the one thing I didn't know about when I was hired on. And then, we had our first storm. Okay, we're going to stop doing what we're doing today, and we're going to go work on storm restoration. Big question mark to me. And it was a huge opportunity that showed itself. I was like, wow, okay, there's multiple facets to this work as well, that you're working directly with people out of state, crews out of state. They all compile in one area, and it's trying to find a good word for it. It's rewarding. You're a product of your own work. If you're working in your area and you don't have power on in your house, you're out trying to help with restoration efforts. So I want to add in that too.
True heroes all around, I'll tell you. Absolutely, absolutely. Essential personnel. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah. Thank you. I mean, fascinating stories, fascinating stories. I grew up in the industry. I started as a clerk, and within 20 years, I was in a senior level position and started off just with a high school diploma and got my degrees while I was working. I mean, and I think most energy companies provide tuition reimbursement. They provide opportunities for growth, and the growth potential inside the industry is tremendous. Many of the jobs are posted internally so that folks can grow within the organization and just never dull, never boring. And I think you all said that, and I experienced the same exact thing working in the industry. Absolutely. Um, I'm going to skip around what you do on a day-to-day job because I think you've really, in the essence, have talked about the challenges and the diversity of the work that you do. It's never boring, never the same day, always something different. So very exciting. What you're both different. Marcos, you work for a contractor.
Hmm.
Which doesn't produce electricity, but supports and does the work for the electric companies. Milton, you work in a company that is an energy company. And so I want you to talk a little bit about, from electric perspective, for the audience, what are some of the jobs? Because someone getting a degree, whether it's an engineering technician position, they don't have to go into that specific job. The variety of jobs within the organization are tremendous. And so I'd like you to talk from your perspective in your companies. What are some of the jobs that are hired, that you hire for within the electric side of the business? So Marcos, if you can take that first, I'd appreciate it.
Okay. Well, like I said, I came in as a power engineering technologist, but others that are in the office right now as we speak are environmental technicians, GIS and mapping technicians, CAD technologists, field technicians who are constantly in the field every single day taking notes for specific projects and bring them back to the office to be designed. Job site production coordinators, which are typically more of a higher level field technician that were prior linemen usually, that get involved with the higher level projects, the more involved projects, and kind of run the field technicians. We also have engineers. There's engineers in the office. There's professional engineers in the office, project analysts, project managers, supervisors, and operations management. Every single one of those folks I just mentioned are inside the office. So when you say that there's a specific degree and you feel like you're gonna roll into a position that's directly related to the degree that you have, it's not necessarily the case. We just, for example, we interviewed a few people a while back, and they were interviewing for certain positions, and they were kept for different positions. They accepted jobs for a completely different position that they were interviewing for. So it's just I mean, to answer your question, that's how best I could answer your question. But to lead into, just because you have that 4-year degree in specific field does not necessarily mean, don't cut yourself short, because there's so many other opportunities that could be provided to you if you just try to get in there and try.
Great. Milton. Well,
Yeah.
Marion.
Yeah.
Tell
me. Like Marcos mentioned, I mean, you have to keep your mind wide open, right? I thought I'd be working with animals my whole life, and instead I get to play with power outages and other stuff. So, keeping your mind open is just extremely important as you see job openings. Don't be shy to apply for some that aren't specifically what you anticipate doing. And know that the world will open up big time once you're in the utility industry. Mm-hmm. We've mentioned power companies across the United States are in need of thousands of employees. So students like you that have a lot to offer, education, leadership, drive, sense of duty, attention to detail, even in the midst of the hurry up and wait. All of those things build those skills that are just so important. No one attended my high school job fair and told me, hey, go work for the utility company where the work is stable, the pay exceeds almost any comparable on the market, and it's not boring. With the number of people retiring in the utility industries, the opportunities just in the energy sector are just absolutely endless. There's so much opportunity and growth opportunity within those career paths. To summarize some of the jobs in high demand, I'll run through that list, but just again, keep in mind, almost any education program will lead to one of these categories, if not most of them in one way or another. So again, back to my point earlier, just keep an open mind. We have administrative jobs. Those are our support departments like lawyers, labor specialists, data analysts, a lot of engineers, both civil, mechanical, electrical, all those different categories. Security from physical, cyber, which is definitely a hot topic right now across the country. Estimating, designs, and drafting, a lot of what Marcos mentioned, very similar. A lot of folks do associates and bachelor's degrees and then turn to the trades and do apprenticeships for linemen, metermen, substation journeymen, meter relay techs, comm techs, and a lot more than that. We have mechanics, logistics, material management and inventory employees, customer service in a wide variety of fields there, from communications, writing articles for newspapers, doing commercials, all different kinds of work in that area. And management, like I'm in a vast number of areas. So all these departments typically have supervisors and managers that's their expertise. Dispatch centers, which are similar to 911 for power outages, but they help maintain our power grids. The finance and accounting teams that do taxes, auditing, those type of activities. And probably the most important to me is that the electric utilities are innovating in the middle of a huge transition to provide greener, more reliable power to customers. When you talk about innovation, I can't think of another sector or any career path that doesn't have more innovation currently occurring. You look at wind, solar power options and what's occurring there. It seems like every year there's new technology that improves those abilities and capabilities across the country. Hydro, battery storage, cleaner gas generation, electric vehicles for the future. It's again, just endless opportunities to innovate and to do some really exciting big projects and things that are going to change the future of our country when it comes to electricity. Widespread innovation is occurring in the electrical system technology. So many people have heard of distribution automation. Basically, we have equipment that automatically reduces power outage sizes using relays and modern equipment. That means we have to have engineers. We have to have a lot of very innovative thinking to set up some of this equipment and to maintain it. Remote operations of switches. So instead of sending someone in a truck to drive 4 hours down the road to operate manually a switch, we have automated controls that you click the button and are able to change the way that the electrical system is set up and serves the customers. There's monitoring equipment that identifies issues with equipment prior to the failure. So temperature gauges and things that say, hey, this equipment is about to fail, you can take it offline instead of having balls of fire or big explosions out there in the environment. So we also have drones inspecting lines with equipment like infrared, high definition photo technology, just a lot of modern changes. I think if you go back 20 years, the power companies and the gas companies, for the most part, not very exciting, not a lot of innovation, just in general, a lot of that stuff was very maintenance driven. What we had worked and lasted a long time. And now a lot has changed and there's just a lot of modernizing of our electrical systems, a lot of technology and a lot of really cool differences between now versus the past. So that was a lot of information, but hopefully hopefully it made sense, and you get the idea that keep your mind open because there's a lot of opportunities here.
Yeah, yeah, lots of new innovation, so much going on in the industry, lots of excitement. Great. Thank you so much for that, because I think it did provide a lot of background and information on the various jobs and the wealth of jobs. I encourage those listening in to really go to Troops to Energy Jobs and look at our job posting site and just put in where you live and where you want to work and look for the companies and the energy jobs that are there. What are some of the requirements? And we've got a listing of members of companies. Most of our companies have recruiters, military recruiters that are there to answer questions and to really work with veterans and transitioning service members to answer their questions about the energy industry and the jobs that they can do. So feel free to look at Troops to Energy Jobs and find that virtual coach, or find the list of members in the companies and contact them, reach out to them and ask those questions if you do have any. Let me wrap up. I think we're going to wrap up a little bit. You've shared a wealth of information, but if you had one piece of advice that you want to give these transitioning service members or veterans that are listening to us, Milton, I'm going to start with you this time. What piece of advice do you have for them?
I think it's Marcos kind of mentioned this a little bit earlier, is don't downplay the skills that you have built in the military. It doesn't matter if you were a sergeant, a private, it doesn't matter. Those leadership skills, attention to detail, those are so important as you move forward in your career. Don't be shy to work hard and put those skills on display. Constantly learn and never stop looking for opportunities to expose yourself to new things. And again, the future's bright. There's a lot of opportunity in the electric utility world. So just get out there and do some research and apply for as many things as you can, knowing that it's with as much opening an opportunity, you'll land a really good career and enjoy yourself.
And I just want to add a comment to say, Milton, you're absolutely right that, and Marcos, your comments around those other skill sets, and the audience here is probably saying, well, I'm going for a degree in this, and this is a requirement, so it might help me get the job. Yes. But they also look at those leadership skills, and our companies are looking to hire veterans. They want more veterans within the organizations. Right now, the industry is about 10% average. That's the average. 10% of their employees are veterans. But I'll tell you, there are companies that have 30%. Veterans within their organization, and they're looking to hire more because they know that there's such a fit. So absolutely don't downplay those. Marcos.
Yeah. Gosh, I mean, what Milton said, I mean, I'd say that's probably the best piece of advice. It really is, because I mean, that's exactly what I did to myself. It's like I didn't know what I was capable of as a civilian. You know, there's always a barrier there. I'm still in the military, 14 years of being on active duty. It was the only job that I had, so it's the only thing that I knew. And I would venture to say that some of these student veterans or some veterans that are just simply transitioning, it's the only thing that they know. So the best thing you can do for yourself is to not sell yourself short. The worst anybody could ever tell you is no. Utilize the job sites. You know, the Indeed, the Monster, the LinkedIn, and network. Go to the job fairs. Network. I think the biggest thing that I took away from my transition was when I went to, I call it TRS, a Transition Readiness Seminar. You know, there was so much information there that I didn't know about, and I didn't learn of it until I was transitioning out. But if I would have known about it years before, I would have began curtailing what I was doing in the service in efforts to move in a different direction. Because, you know, yeah, your enlistments are 4 years, 3 years, 6 years, or whatever they might be. but you've always got to be relevant. And now that I'm into a career and still a part of the military, it's about staying relevant, continue learning, continue to network, and you know, the more information that you can gather and the more people you can network with, the more doors and opportunities will open for you, no matter what your military experience is or your college experience is. It's a matter of getting out there and doing it.
Marcos mentioned networking, and probably a highlight that hasn't been mentioned to this point is most businesses now have veteran employee resource groups. Mm-hmm. So if you have questions about anything at all, you know, ask the recruiters, hey, do you have a veterans employee resource group that I could reach out, get more information from? Usually those groups offer advice, support, help, is even to the level of helping you find the best neighborhoods to move to, you know, if you do take a career with that business. So don't forget the networking side of asking, do they have a veteran employee resource group for that support and help?
That's great. Thank you, both of you, Marcos, Milton. You were amazing. Thank you for all your advice and for your candor and for taking the time to be with us today. You're truly an inspiration. I know to me you are, and I thank you for your service, and I thank all of those that are on the call here. I do want to mention two things. One is please visit. We have, just like Milton and Marcos, we have one for the gas side of the business. We have another quick video for the nuclear, a webinar that we did for the nuclear side of the business. And then we've got two others, cybersecurity and information technology. And as you heard Milton say, it's really hot and we're being very innovative. So we'll have folks talk more specifically about those jobs as well. And then the last one we have two more, one on renewables, solar, wind, hydro, so that you can learn more about those jobs and those opportunities. And then the last one I want to mention is the general energy industry jobs. And we have one on those. Milton talked a lot about those accounting jobs and everything else. So those are also available. And so you'll be able to click on those and listen. Go to our Troops to Energy Jobs. We also have a Get Into Energy Jobs, talks a lot about the different jobs available and a lot of information about the energy industry. So thank you both, Marcos and Milton. Thank you those that are listening in. Good luck to all of you. Have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thanks. Thanks for having us.